On today's episode of Joy in the City True Stories, we're going to spend a few minutes with Kelly Ferguson as she shares her battle from depression to faith, holding on to a promise.
For me, the journey was a long one to conceive our son. We waited 7 long years for him. So the first part of when I wasn't being able to get pregnant was very tough, and I was just full of sadness, full of even hatred towards those who were having babies. It just was awful. I hated getting up. I hated living life pretty much. And it showed in all aspects of my life. Halfway through the journey, I would say, I had asked my husband if it'd be possible if I would quit my job. I just didn't really feel like I was giving it my all, and I was a teacher, and I really felt, being a teacher, you need to love your kids and be there for them, and I just wasn't at that point in my life anymore. And so I asked if that was possible, and he said yes. And so I think that was like the first step for me to say, okay. Another thing that really changed for me was I went to a pastor's wives retreat, and I can't say it was this bam, wow moment, but something in there that weekend said, Kelly, do you really want to continue to live your life like this? Do you want to continue to be sad all the time, down and out all the time, or do you want something different? From that weekend on, I just really changed my focus and said I need to get back in the Word, I need to start praying, and that's what I did. I had all this time that I didn't have before because my son's in school, my oldest, and I don't have a job, so what do? Well, I can read the Word, and I can read these books that are encouraging, and I can listen to people on TV. So I was starting to spend hours and hours a day with God, and I really think that's what started to change my perspective on where this journey was going to lead me. It was so amazing, the things he taught me and the things he showed me. And it wasn't like he promised me that in 3 years you're going to have a baby, but I knew the promise was there. It's like he was my joy, he was my peace. That's where I was getting it from. It wasn't from the baby, it was from him. And all along the journey, I kept thinking to myself, I still want this baby, but I just want more of God. And the funny thing is, even though I still longed for that baby, my perspective on things were changing as far as I was so appreciative for the relationship I was gaining with the Lord that the baby was still wanted, but the relationship with the Lord was just so amazing. I've never experienced something like that before. In all the years that I served him, this was the closest I've ever felt. And I read this verse about boasting in him, and it was like, yes, that's what this is about. Him getting the glory, and not about anybody else. And so I just kept on track with that. And literally, I think it was 2 weeks maybe later, I got a positive pregnancy test. And that moment is so unexplainable, of the joy and happiness that I felt after waiting 7 years to see a plus sign. It's just, you take millions of tests and they're negative, and then you get this positive, and it's finally the fulfillment of that dream. And I can never forget that day and how I felt that day. And because all along he was trying to show me, trust me. And that's a hard thing for me to do for some reason. I don't know the reason, but it is hard. And so I really think he was in this journey saying, can you trust me? Can you keep your eyes on me? And I'll show you what I can do. And he did. He showed me. And 9 months later, I am proud to say we had this beautiful, healthy baby boy. And it was so worth the 7-year journey. I would never take it back, because of what God taught me and showed me in those 7 years can never be replaced with anything, because it was the best thing to build my relationship with him. With my new baby, sometimes to keep my eyes on him, because I have the promise. And sometimes I just even long to go back to those days when I needed him so much, because that's when my eyes were mostly focused on him. And so don't ever look at the journey as something that's not profitable for your relationship with him, because what it can do for you and your faith and your trust in him is so much more than when things are good. So keep your eyes on him, trust him, and know that he wants what's best for you.
That's all the time we have today. Thanks for watching Joy in the City True Stories. Join us next week as we highlight another person or organization having an impact in our city. Be encouraged because God is moving in our city.
God is on the move.